Hello and welcome to Kedu Watch with Amir Beg and Hassan Miraj. Today we're going to discuss about the safety of Pakistani nuclear weapons. In 1974, India did first blast in Pokhran. From that time, Pakistani regime, I think at that time Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, started to think about having some nuclear deterrent. After that, it's a history. And then in 1998, India did blast of nuclear weapons. And Pakistani has, at that time, has come to a conclusion that we should have to show their power too. So in Chavi, they did blast and Pakistan has become into a nuclear power, the first Islamic nuclear power. I would like to ask Dr. Hassan Raj give an overview of the nuclear safety regime.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you for the good introduction. Pakistan's nuclear arsenal is safe, but today we are going to discuss how we can say it is safe. Because there's a lot of international hue and cry, not from everyone, but few specific countries and nations who always say that the Pakistan's nuclear arsenal is not safe. So the first two basic principles of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal safety are: number one, the national requirements, and the number two is the international obligations. National requirements means what are the national interests to utilize these weapons to keep the nation safe. And that is the purpose of the weapons, to keep the country, its boundaries, and its people safe. But on the other side, there are international obligations which have to be fulfilled to present yourself and to act as a responsible nuclear nation. So there are two basic principles on which Pakistan has based its philosophy of nuclear weaponization.
What are the strategies of Pakistan nuclear safety regime?
I would go and divide them into three basic pillars of Pakistan nuclear security regime. Number one is the legislative and regulatory framework. Number two are the institutions and organizations. And number three are the nuclear security systems and measures. There is a lot of detail about these three basic pillars of the nuclear regime, but I have to go very briefly and give an overview of these pillars of the regime. So under legislative and regulatory framework, there are three main legislative frameworks which are presented by the documents of the Pakistan nuclear regime. Number one is the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission Ordinance in 1965. Number two is the Pakistan Nuclear Regulatory Authority Ordinance in 2001. And number three is the Strategic Export Control Division Act of 2004. The Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission Ordinance 1965 is the basic and the prime document that gives the regulations and the legislative backbone of the nuclear regime. And then comes in 2001 the Pakistan Nuclear Regulatory Authority Ordinance, which deals with a lot of details, but two of the very important include regulations on physical protection of nuclear material and nuclear installations, number 925, and number two is regulations on security of radioactive resource 926. And the last one is the Strategic Export Control Act of 2004, which is obvious that there is a serious aspect of export overview of any of the nuclear materials. The third aspect or the third pillar of the nuclear regime includes nuclear security systems and measures. On the top of it is the physical protection, which includes many things, including intrusion and detection systems, access control systems, delay of barriers and surge systems, central alarm stations, limited access areas, protected areas, there are vital areas, and there are isolation zones. Now, these are all physical protection measures that are put in action for the nuclear system. The second part of it is the National Nuclear Detection Architecture, under which there is Nuclear Security Action Plan, which includes many things, including Cargo Container Control Facility and Container Security Initiative. Then is the Nuclear Security Systems Measures, which include response and mitigation, and which would include Nuclear Emergency Management System with National Disaster Management Authority in coordination with Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, Pakistan Nuclear Regulatory Authority, and National Command Authority. Along with that is the Nuclear and Radiological Emergency Support Center, and then is the National Radiation Emergency Coordination Center. There are exercises conducted for Mobile Radiological Monitoring Lab, for IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, convention exercises, and there are communication test exercises. Going back to the institutions and organizations, the top apex organization that controls the decision making is National Command Authority, which is chaired by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and the members include the three chiefs of Army, Navy, and Air Force, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and other members. And then is the Atomic Energy Commission, Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, and Pakistan Nuclear Regulatory Authority. And under that are several other organizations, so to say PIEAS, KINPOE, CHESHNAP, CHESCEN, and PINSTEC. So that gives us some idea of how the whole structure of the nuclear regime is established. Including in it is another aspect which is called Material Protection Control and Accounting Program. And then there is a capacity building for nuclear security, which means trained manpower. There's a continuous availability of new manpower, which is trained according to the philosophy of the Pakistan Nuclear Arsenal Strategy. And that includes Pakistan Center of Excellence for Nuclear Safety, National Institute of Safety and Security, Pakistan Institute of Engineering and Applied Sciences.
Thank you for giving us details. What is the adherence to international instruments?
Dr. Ahmed, so far I have talked about the government of Pakistan and Army of Pakistan and their strategies and their organization and their work related to the nuclear arsenal strategy. Now we come to the international cooperation and international obligations, because without international obligation, a nuclear state cannot be a responsible nuclear state. So there is Pakistan is adhered to international instruments. It is party to Convention on Physical Protection of Nuclear Material. It is also party to Convention on Nuclear Safety, Convention on Early Notification of a Nuclear Accident, Convention on Assistance in the case of nuclear accident or radiological emergency. These are all the conventions that Pakistan is party to and adheres to. Then there are codes of conduct. Pakistan is subscribed to International Agency of Atomic Energy Agency's Code of Conduct on safety and security of radiological resources. Then it is also subscribed to United Nations Security Council Resolution 1540, which was adopted in 2004 and related to the nuclear safety. Pakistan has submitted so far 5 national reports since Pakistan has entered into the nuclear age, and in 2018 it established another committee on this issue.
What further international cooperation is provided by the Pakistani regime?
So there's more international cooperation which is present when we come to Pakistan's nuclear arsenal safety regime. One of the biggest is, of course, with the International Atomic Energy Agency, and Pakistan is member of several committees and commissions on nuclear safety. I will name some of them: Nuclear Safety Standards Committee, Committee on Safety Standards, Nuclear Security Guidance Committee, Global Nuclear Safety and Security Network, Advisory Group on Nuclear Security, Radiation Safety Standards Committee, Transport Safety Standards Committee, Waste Safety Standards Committee, Nuclear Security Process and Nuclear Security Contact Group, and Global Initiative to Combat Nuclear Terrorism. So as you see, there are so many committees and conventions to which Pakistan is a member of, and as a member definitely has a lot of responsibility and obligations to follow the guidelines provided by International Atomic Energy Agency.
And that was the general picture of Pakistan's safety regime. I would like to ask Dr. Hassan Miraj, is there any history of Pakistan nuclear disasters?
Dr. Amir, so far we have gone to describe briefly how Pakistan has made its nuclear weapons safe. Very interestingly, if you scan the data which is available and do your research work, you find that Pakistan has not a single incident in which there has been any level of nuclear disaster, including any nuclear meltdown, any reactor issues, any radioactive emissions, any theft of the radioactive material. And this is not surprising based on what Pakistan has done to safeguard its nuclear arsenal. There has been no single incident that you can find when you look for and you do your research, except there is one aspect where it was said that Pakistan in some way has provided nuclear technology to countries like Korea and Iran is still very controversial, has a lot of aspects which do not bear full authenticity, and it is debatable. Apart from that, there is no other incident that could be found in the data that can be researched about Pakistan's fallbacks on nuclear safety.
Okay, if we look at the bigger picture to the internationally, the sea nukes were made for the dominance, but for Pakistan, what is the position of Pakistan?
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, I agree with you. So far, we have 5 declared nuclear weapon states, 1 undeclared but known, which is Israel, and there may be some on the horizon in the coming days. So if you look at the historical aspect, we see that all these states which are nuclear declared states include United States, United Kingdom, France, China, Russia, and now Pakistan and India. Except Pakistan, you see a similarity among all of them. And if you see closely, these all weapon states were already the richest and the most elite states in the world. So why did they need nuclear weapons? They needed nuclear weapons to show their dominance. The answer is clear. But Pakistan developed nuclear weapons when India had already achieved nuclear weapons. and Pakistan had to defend itself against a hostile big neighbor, and Pakistan had to develop nuclear weapons to defend itself. So what I'm trying to say is that Pakistan is the only nuclear declared state which had to develop nuclear weapons to defend itself, whereas rest of the nuclear states have no obligation, does not have to defend from against any other nation, because all of them were developed and superpowers, so-called Security Council members. Yes, there was competition. There was the USSR and USA, but both of them were strong enough to defend against each other. In case of Pakistan and India, Pakistan could not defend India on a conventional level. So Pakistan had to develop nuclear weapons for defense.
What will be the risk and necessity of Pakistan nuclear weapons?
So when Pakistan developed nuclear weapons, the risks were, of course, the same, that the nuclear disasters could happen, nuclear radioactive material could be stolen, nuclear emission could happen, and so these were the risks. And the necessity was to defend the nation, to defend the country. So if you compare the risk and necessity, we see that no risks have matured. Pakistan did the nuclear explosions in 1998, and today it is 2023, which is about 25 years. Since those 25 years, there is not a single incident in which these nuclear risks have come to the surface from the Pakistani side. And before that, when Pakistan was in the process of developing, that also took about 1 to 2 decades. And there was again no incident in which Pakistan had done a nuclear disaster or was involved in nuclear disaster. So the risks were there to document, but the risks never happened. And that is a history, that's a very positive history on the side of Pakistan. The necessity was to defend against the big nuclear armed country which has attacked Pakistan several times, which has resulted in the splitting of East Pakistan from the West. So that was a high stake risk.
And the Kashmir.
And the Kashmir issue. So the risks were there, but the risks, as the history shows, never matured, never happened. And Pakistan had the ability to contain those risks. But the necessity was still there.
Apart from this, why Pakistan nuclear bomb is called Islamic bomb?
That's a very interesting phenomena, Dr. Amir. Pakistan's bomb is known as Islamic bomb. But my question is India's bomb called a Hindu bomb? Is Israel's bomb called a Jewish bomb? Is Britain's bomb called a Christian bomb? Do we call Chinese bomb a communist bomb? So when we don't name these bombs, why do we name Pakistan's bomb an Islamic bomb? It is again a clear reflection of bias and discrimination against Pakistan defense preparedness.
Okay, there was a propaganda that Pakistani bomb can go into the hands of the terrorist or mujahideen or something like that.
Yes, has it happened? My question is, has it ever happened? Pakistan is a nuclear state for 25 years, and Pakistan took 2 decades before that to become a nuclear weapon. But my question is, has it ever happened? Has it ever happened that the nuclear material has gone into any terrorist organization, or any terrorists are able to do any serious damage or any kind of damage to our nuclear reactors? It has never happened. So the history itself is the biggest evidence to the fact that this is just propaganda. And the propaganda is because of the vested interests of few nations, which include India on the top and Israel as well. So these nations obviously do not want a nuclear state which can challenge them. So it is a propaganda which is defeated by the historical facts.
What is the division of nuclear terrorism?
So, Dr. Ahmed, delusion in psychiatry is known as a firm false belief. So, the Pakistan unfortunately has been associated with nuclear terrorism, as if there is some terrorists who are going to snatch the nuclear bombs from Pakistani government and Pakistani army and going to explode somewhere in the West. This is a delusion, a firm false belief. But this is more than a delusion because there are some reasons why uh, some nations and some countries want to propagate this firm and false belief. So, as I said previously, that the history proves that Pakistan's safety of nuclear weapons is steadfast, is strong, is very much there, and this is not true. It's just a delusion.
Okay, do we see any other nuclear disaster in any other countries?
Yeah, we don't have to go too far away. If you look at the Indian nuclear safety, we find multiple examples in which the Indian nuclear safety was compromised. And there is a poor Indian nuclear safety standards. There have been recurrent thefts and illegal sale of nuclear and radioactive material in India. In May 2021, 7 kilograms of highly radioactive uranium worth 210 million Indian rupees was found to be smuggled um, out of the country and were taken away from the Indian reactors. In the past 2 decades, over 200 kilograms of nuclear and radioactive material has disappeared from Indian facilities. In February 2022, 2 out of 8 people who were caught in Nepal, they were smuggling uranium from India. And then there's a Mayapuri radiological incident in India. These are some of the incidents that happened that show the poor Indian nuclear safety. And this is one of the country that we are talking about. But if you go and research the nuclear safety during the nuclear history era, you will find several nations who have, for example, Chernobyl. This is a famous one, and other nations who were not able to safeguard their nuclear facilities very much. But I'll come back. There's no incident about Pakistan. So let's be, clear. Let's be truthful and do not propagate lies.
With the deterrent Pakistan has, there is no wars between Pakistan and India since 1998. What do you say about it?
That is absolutely correct. Since 1998, now 25 years onwards, India has not been able to attack Pakistan. And before 1998, we see there were wars between Pakistan and India in 1948, in 65, in 71, and thereafter many wars.
In Kargil,
And Kargil, there was a Kargil incident and the Kargil mini war. So the Pakistani nuclear weapon has actually brought in stability, nuclear stability in the region. Otherwise, Pakistan and India were at war. But Pakistan never started this nuclear race. It was the Indian state which started the nuclear race in 1974 and then threatened with a nuclear explosion in 1998 when Pakistan had no other option, no other choice but to develop its own nuclear weapons to defend its nation, its boundaries, and its people.
So we can say that the Pakistani nuclear program is safe and secure.
Yes, as I presented, there are huge and tremendous safeguard procedures, protocols, implementations. As I mentioned earlier, the history shows that Pakistan never had an incident in which the nuclear disaster has happened. And since Pakistan developed the nuclear weapons, India has not been able to establish any larger or small scale war against Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samiraj, and please keep on watching our channel. Please do watch and subscribe it and share it, and don't forget to comment next time we'll bring another interesting and important topic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you, Dr. Amir.
Thank you.